All right, welcome to episode 10 of the Carnism Debunked podcast. I'm pleased today to be joined by Arvind Kannan. You may know him as Arvind Animal Activist on social media. Arvind does his activism in India and is often one of the go-to activists there for content about the country's dairy obsession. You can also see him battling many other anti-vegan myths via his speeches at colleges and so on that you can watch on YouTube. He has around 330,000 followers on his Facebook page and around 37,000 subscribers on YouTube. So it's fair to say he has had a real impact in the social media scene. So Arvind, thanks for joining me today. Welcome to the show.
Sure, man. Thank you so much for having me.
So I believe you went vegan through Gary Yourofsky, is that correct? Which is the same as me.
Right, same as you, yeah.
Yeah, cool. When was it that you watched his speech?
I stumbled across Gary's speech by complete accident in 2014, I believe, in the month of April. I think April is when I saw it. And I was a non-vegan back then. I didn't have any interest to learn about veganism. In fact, after seeing the title, The Best Speech You'll Ever Hear, I was just curious, so I clicked it. And it said that a vegan was going to give a speech about veganism in some college. And I was like, oh, great. The first thing that came to my head was, oh my God, great, more meat for me. That's the first thing.
Wow.
The moment I heard vegan, more meat for me. So then I heard the speech, and within the first 5 to 6 minutes, I already knew that this is not going to be like, see, the usual arguments I've heard all my life for not eating meat are religious arguments. I'm an atheist. So, and they were never satisfying to me. Why you shouldn't kill animals. I knew killing animals was wrong. I mean, we all know that, but still, I thought it was necessary and all that stuff. So I heard just a few minutes of Gary's speech, and I was like, okay, something, because he right at the front says, how would you feel if the day you were born, someone else planned the day of, that's the beginning in itself, because no one speaks that in your face. And I'm a person who likes it when people throw facts at my face. So I saw the entire speech, and yeah, my life changed completely for good, complete change. Everything I do in my life, the life I'm living right now, has been completely impacted by Gary Yourofsky. Everything. So,
And it's very interesting. You just said a moment ago how you like Gary's sort of in-your-face style, right? He doesn't dance around the point. He just gets straight to the point. I'm wondering, to what extent can you practice that in India? Because I spoke to Altab Hossain on a recent podcast, and he told me, he said, George, if you speak the way you do where I live, you would be dead by now, he said. So I'm wondering to what extent that's like in your area. Is it the same? Is it as dangerous for you to speak as sort of quote unquote aggressively for animal rights, or do you have to be more mindful?
He's from Bengal, so that's like a Muslim dominated area.
Yeah.
So is regardless of where you are in the world, if you are in a Muslim dominated area and you speak against what they believe in, you can expect a lot of things to happen. But where I live in too, usually people don't try to silence you that much. They just argue with you. But if in case you do make a statement that is, let's say you call out a politician or you call out a religious leader, then you can expect some repercussions. But expecting someone to physically hurt you because you're speaking about veganism, I don't think you can speak that much in your face. You can speak. But again, even Gary didn't get that many. He wasn't welcomed everywhere he went to. Still, the school threw him out. So that approach in and of itself, first of all, even wherever you live, is not welcome everywhere, right? I don't think even like he's banned from your country, but even anywhere in the US also, he couldn't speak everywhere he wanted to, because that in your face kind of way he speaks is not actually liked by many people. So, but you could speak that here. It's not such a big issue.
So where are you?
You just wouldn't get people to listen to you, or you just wouldn't be able to get into colleges. That's the problem.
Okay. So where are you based in India?
I am from South India, in a state called Tamil Nadu. And that's the capital city is called Chennai, and I've been living here.
Is it mainly like a Hindu area?
Yeah, South Indians are Hindus, but the amount of differences between India is like a continent in itself. Because if you go from north to south, east to west, we don't look the same, we don't speak the same language, we don't believe same religion, but we don't believe in the same gods. Like so much variations. But yeah, it is a Hindu-dominated place.
That's the thing about India, isn't it? It's like they say no one knows the real India because it's just so vast culturally, ethnically, religiously, everything. That's like you could go like a few miles one place and it's just completely different, and the culture
is completely different. Yeah.
I was wondering How is your speeches that you've done at colleges? So I see you're sort of following in Gary Yourofsky's footsteps there.
100%, yes.
I even saw you referred to, maybe you won't agree with this, I don't know, but I'm sure you'd be complimented to hear. I even saw you referred once online to as the Indian Gary Yourofsky. But
I called myself that. I may have done that.
No, not that you called yourself it. Someone referred to you as that.
Oh,
and I was saying,
okay. That's an honor for me. I mean, there's no bigger honor, I think, for a vegan activist than that. So
100%. And how have your speeches and stuff at colleges gone? What's the reception been like?
So if you're talking about just the impact I have while speaking to a classroom, so I try to be like Gary. I show actual gory footage, reality of what's happening. I take many of my lines from obviously what he says, like all of his major lines from his interviews. I have memorized all of them by heart. I can even speak them in Tamil. I made sure I could learn, because my mother tongue is Tamil, so I could say them in both languages. And let's say in a classroom, if there's some sensible people, I've had like one or two get back to me and say they've become vegan. Like you, I think you even did a podcast with that vegan veranda, right?
Yes, I was on their podcast. Yeah.
You know, Apota, the guy with the glasses. He went vegan after I went to his college in 2017.
Oh, cool.
So the thing is that there are people who do listen. Many people do change, but the impact, it's hard to measure and it's quite less, especially when you compare to the impact that we have on social media right now. Because if you record yourself giving a lecture and post that online, that's a completely different story. Like then you get so much more response. But live interactions, I would say very average, very, very average, below average than what we expect it to be.
Do you get nervous before you do a talk at a university, or do you sort of get used to things now?
Not one bit nervous. Of course, the first time I was slightly a bit nervous, but after the second or third lecture, because I guess it's just naturally given to me. Like I can speak anywhere in an audience. I don't get scared. I don't get stage fright. So that's one thing.
That's good. I kind of envy you for that, because even when I'm doing speeches at marches and stuff now, even though I've done quite a few, like I'm still really nervous and stuff beforehand, and I'm terrible at memorizing lines and stuff like that. So
but I think you are good at one-on-one interactions. Like if you're talking to someone one-on-one.
Yes. Yeah.
I suck at that. So it's a trade-off. So I'm not good at that at all. So I avoid street activism and stuff like I have seen in the West, like Earthling Ed and Joey Costrom, they do these street interviews, right?
Yes.
I cannot do that. First of all, I can't do that in India for two reasons. Like you first asked me, is it violent? It's not violent. But the moment I step out, let's say I go to the beach near my house and I take a microphone and I don't take police permission, I start talking and interviewing to people, the police will walk up like, who are you? What are you doing? Tell me.
Really?
I tell them, my name is Arvind. I'm promoting veganism, this concept of not killing animals. They'll be like, okay, you know what? Pack up your stuff and leave right now. Because the very fact that you touch about not eating meat is something negative here in India, because not eating meat has been, I don't know if you know much about the Indian system, like there's something called casteism here. It's a hierarchy.
I was going to ask you about that later, actually. Yeah, I was going to bring that up. So talk about that now. Yeah, tell me about the caste system.
So I'm not well versed in this. So there are four castes, I think, Brahman, Vaishya, Shudra, and no. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Anyway, so yeah, Brahmins are the ones that I'm born into. That is supposed to be the top of the pyramid. And Brahmins don't eat meat for two reasons. One, because it's a religious thing. And second, I think historically they did used to eat meat before, but then for reasons to distinguish themselves from others, to say that, hey, you eat meat, so you are an impure person. I'm a pure person, I don't eat meat. You see, not eating meat was established in India, not for animal ethics. It was used to discriminate humans. So when I go out there and speak and against Brahminism, there have been hundreds of campaigns run in India for a millennia right now. So trying to end this caste system. Because Brahmins did take advantage. My ancestors 100% did take advantage of the people who used to live here, the other castes, and do wrong things. So when you go out there and you speak about not killing animals, but it comes to not eating meat, right? They think you're a Brahmin trying to enforce your agenda and create a problem here. So the police is like, just leave, please. We don't want any issues at all.
Okay.
My friends have gotten, actually, now that I'm reminded, a few of my friends went to another district in Tamil Nadu and they got beaten up over there.
Wow.
So what happened then was, I believe there were a bunch of protests happening in India at that time, because the current government had made a rule like all Muslims entering the country, like only valid people with valid identity can enter the country. Because there are plenty of, especially Alta, especially around Bengal area, there are plenty of immigrants who are illegal immigrants entering India, and many of them happen to be Muslims. So they made a rule saying that they have to be removed. And there was plenty of protests happening in South India. And so apparently a protest was happening against that law on an adjacent street. And one of their members came and met my friends. And they said, like, who the hell do you guys think you are? Oh, so now not only do you want to kick us out, you also want to prevent what we're allowed to eat in this country. Let me go get my friends. They thought that he was just making a joke. They got their bunch of friends, punched them in the face. So yeah, that did happen. I just forgot about that. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, it can happen in India. It's you gotta be careful. I don't like street activism. You ask me, do I do these street outrages? I can't do that. Because number one, I will get into problems. So I stay in the comfort of my home. I have the screen, I record myself, put it online, and I'm so grateful that thousands of people are watching it, engaging in discussions, meaningful discussions. So yeah, I'm working with what I have right now. So yeah.
Speaking of how many thousands of people engage in stuff on that, how did you build up such a fantastic following on your Facebook page and stuff? Talk to me about how that happened.
I'm just as surprised as you are, man. Look, two things involved here, okay? Number one is you do need some talent. Okay, I will admit that. You have to be able to speak in front of a camera, because many people actually, until you put a camera to their face and say, go, they don't know how hard that is. Because you told me right now, it's good to see me eye to eye and talk, right? Mm-hmm. You couldn't, if I go off right now, if I take my face away, you will be finding it a bit hard to talk. But talking to a camera is so weird because there's no human there. It's just this weird lens staring at you. Yeah. So you have to have the ability to communicate there effectively, write script, making these videos. Like if you see a 5-minute video of mine, a short segment saying why I don't drink milk, why I don't eat eggs, it takes anywhere from around 50 to 80 hours of work to produce one 5-minute video. Yeah. From writing a script to recording myself to shooting the video, editing the video, creating a thumbnail. You know this stuff because you also are on social media. So much work, subtitling the video, thinking of a creative title, everything. And so one thing you need is quality content. People are always willing to watch quality content. So as long as your content is, on good quality, they'll watch it. And number two, you can call it God's grace or luck. So I say it's luck. I think I'm really lucky because there are so many content creators who make videos on veganism, be it in the East or West, who did not have the luck I have. They make fantastic videos. They make amazing stuff. I just got lucky. And especially, I think it was 5 or 6 of my videos that really got me so many views. One was a Q&A in a lecture session I was doing. I actually did a 30-part episode series with a TV channel in India, where they released 30 episodes where I spoke about veganism both in English and Tamil. And they also asked me to do a few lectures in a college. And in one of those Q&As, a guy asked, like, why do you vegans kill plants? Why don't plants feel pain? So I responded to him, and I just thought the video was nice. So I put it on Facebook. And I looked in, after a few weeks, it's like 6 million, 8 million views. That was the first time a video really took up. And then we made a video called Milk is Murder. Again, it was from a different lecture. I had just spoken, my wife so everything I do, it's not just me, it's me and my partner, my wife. We both have been completely in this together. So everything I've accomplished, all the stuff, like we shared it completely. Mm-hmm. So she thought that, hey, this guy spoke quite well in this lecture. So she took a few bits and she added some scenes and some, touching background music. And she made a video called Milk is Murder. That thing on Facebook got 26 million views. That is, in the history of India, the highest number of views any pro-vegan video has ever got organically. Again, no promotions, all organic. Then I made a video responding to this Muslim preacher called Zakir Naik, and that got millions of views. That got a lot of views. And then recently, I've now focused to expand the audience even further. I'm learning Hindi. So I'm a Tamilian. I don't speak Hindi. There's no reason for us to, because people think that in India, everyone speaks Hindi. That's not true. Tamil people speak Tamil. The Kerala people speak a different language. Andhra different. Orissa different. Bengal different. Gujarat. Everyone speaks a different language. But Hindi is spoken by over 500 million people in India alone, also in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, and around the world. So me and my wife thought, like, hey, and let me know if I'm speaking too much, because you might ask one question and I tend to speak a lot. So
no, it's good. Carry on.
Okay. So the thing is, once I get in the flow, I just speak a lot. So,
that's good. That's why it's good to have you as a guest. Okay. I like that you're telling your story. That's good. So carry on about. So you're learning Tamil and stuff, and
I am Tamil. I'm learning Hindi.
So you're learning Hindi because so you currently speak English and Tamil, but you want to learn Hindi as well to expand your.
I also speak French.
Okay, cool.
So eventually you can expect me to make videos in that as well. So
That's very useful. And I think one of the things about perhaps why your videos had such viral success is because maybe it's quite controversial to sort of go against the grain in India when it comes to dairy, right? Because here you are calling dairy rape and slavery and murder, when dairy is a huge, huge part of Indian culture, right? Like it's the world's largest dairy consumer. And whenever I speak to Indian non-vegans on Facebook, whenever I'm in a debate with a non-vegan Indian on Facebook, they always bring up, oh, you don't get it. You know, we treat cows like our mothers here. You know, they don't suffer and they're not abused. And how do you deal with those arguments? And what is it with dairy in India? What's with the obsession there?
So I don't know what the exact, like I said, they wanted one distinguishing reason, reason between themselves and other castes to first of all promote themselves as superior. So Brahmins stopped eating meat. That was one thing, but they didn't stop drinking milk. And like dairy is like a part and parcel of Indian culture. I come from a South Indian Brahmin family. So I would have tea in the morning, tea in the evening, tea or coffee, anything, and then curd rice. And then all the puja. Puja is basically like, do you know what a puja is?
It's like sweets, right? Like
no. Puja is like when you worship God, an idol, you tend to offer them something like flowers or honey or milk. They pour milk on the idols.
So do you know why I thought it was sweets? Because when I was at uni in Leicester's got a huge Indian population. There was a Indian sweet shop near me called Puja Sweets. So maybe I thought it was. Carry on with what you said.
It's also quite a common name for women, Puja. Like many women call it. So it's just a part of Indian culture. It's kind of like asking like the Vikings, why do they wear fur and like carry giant sword? Like, that is them. That is their identity. Why do Chinese eat with chopsticks? Indians bathe in dairy. Whether they're vegetarian or non-vegetarian, dairy is this. And what they have done is sadly, especially in this modern age, that completely, even back in olden times, it's not like I support the farming done in ancient times. I don't do that. But especially in these modern times, what's happening is that they read the scriptures because the scriptures do depict a very wonderful way of dairy consumption. What they say in scriptures is like, you're supposed to take care of the cow, never beat the cow, never hurt her, never say any ill words to her. And I'll give her and the male huge grasslands to graze upon. If they choose to mate among themselves, let them be, else do not force. And then if they do conceive a child and the child is born, and after the child has had its share of milk, if the mother allows you, go and take that milk and you consume it. That is called sattvic milk. Sattvic means pure, again, pure. So they still, since that's written in the scriptures, where it's just cognitive dissonance. So when you say the truth to their face, they'll be no. That's not how it used to be. So who cares how it used to be? It's not like that right now. But they still cannot let go. It's like asking Chinese to stop using chopsticks. Like, it's insane to them. Like, you know, it's unbelievable. So,
and is it like the case that even those Indians who do sort of have a cow in their home who is quote unquote treated like their mother, I'm sure they go to the supermarket anyway and buy fucking dairy products and stuff, factory farmed bullshit from companies like Amul and things like that, right? Amul pretty much has a monopoly on the Indian dairy industry, right? They're fucking huge there.
Up north, not here in Tamil, not in south. Only north they have a monopoly there.
Okay.
Each state it changes. In my state, it's a brand called Arvind. In Karnataka, it's a brand called Nandini. So it changes from. But yeah, there is a monopoly in the north.
So basically, so these people are being disingenuous anyway. Even if they do have this cow in their home. It's kind of like when people say, I have chickens and I eat the eggs from my backyard, but you see them down the supermarket and they'll buy some cake or something that has egg in it.
Exactly.
And it's the same as that, right?
If someone were to approach you in your office and say, hey, it's my birthday here, have a sweet, you wouldn't be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not a vegan. Of course, you'll take and you'll eat that.
Yes.
Even if it contained ghee, and ghee is basically clarified butter.
Yeah.
So, and basically ghee is used in pujas, ghee is used in making sweets. It is touted to have medicinal properties, including honey. We have our own medicinal system here called Ayurveda. It's a Hindu medicinal system. And in that, honey and milk products are promoted to crazy lengths. So it's deeply entrenched. Like India is number one in vegetarianism and it's the last in veganism. Okay, for them, they can't even fathom. Like, it doesn't make sense to them. Like, not eating meat makes sense because there are plenty of vegetarians here. So many vegetarians exist in India. So even if I was promoting vegetarianism on my page, I would have gotten a much bigger hit, much bigger reach. Of course, they would have still said I'm promoting Brahminism, the people who want to troll me. But at least it makes sense to them. But veganism is just like a step too far for them. They don't get it. So.
And this is what I keep telling these apologist vegans who keep condoning vegetarianism, is that they don't realize that often vegetarians can be the worst carnists of all. India is proof of that. You have the highest vegetarian population in the world. There's like 400 million vegetarians in India. But as you say, hardly fucking anyone is vegan there. You're probably, what, a few thousand vegans or something. Like the Indian animal rights movement remains tiny. And it's because carnism is vegetarianism, and vegetarianism is carnism. And vegans seem to be so deluded in that. I think it's because so many vegans were former vegetarians themselves, and so they just think, oh, because I was just vegetarian, but I was in it for I thought I was doing the right thing. But they don't realize that actually most vegetarians worldwide, they're not vegetarian for altruistic reasons. It's cultural or spiritual and stuff, which is the case in India, right?
Right, exactly.
I mean,
another thing I can share with you, like one of these most irritating moments for me is like I've done lectures in colleges and schools, and I tell them everything. I speak for an hour, and then like I remember this one girl in a college. She came up, she shook my hand like, "Sir, you touched my heart. Thank you so much for saying this." I said, "Great. Will you go vegan?" "Oh yes, sir. I'm already pure vegetarian." And I was like, "Did anything I say go into your brain at all?" Like I gave a lecture on veganism for 1 hour, and you come and shake my hand and you appreciate me, which is awesome. And then I ask you, will you go vegan? Oh, I am already a pure. So what they have been indoctrinated into thinking that vegetarianism is the right way.
Yeah.
And then this is not just one girl. Many students have done this after lectures. And even if you go to the comments of my videos where I do speak in English, people do comment this stuff saying that, oh, it's okay, I'm already a pure vegetarian. Thank you, I'm also a pure vegetarian. And I go to them like, no, I'm not promoting vegetarianism here. Like, it's like they don't want to hear what you're saying. They just can't fathom not having dairy.
And you must feel like shit, because if I've just spoke up there for an hour about this and people are coming to me at the end and saying, oh, thank you, yes, I'm a vegetarian, I agree with what you're saying. It's like, fuck, I haven't even done my job properly. It's like, shit, you start doubting if you even did a good speech and stuff, which I'm sure you did. But people are coming up to you at the end and they're telling you they're doing exactly the opposite of what you've been advising.
Exactly. But see, I wouldn't exactly, again, like you said, I don't distinguish much between vegetarian and non-vegetarian because honestly, it comes down to a mindset. There are rational people and there are irrational people. There are people who will listen and people who will not. There are people who will lie to themselves to make themselves feel better. Having been vegan and activist for so long, both of us would know that this is the human nature. So you can only do so much. Like, at one point, in fact, if there's anything, I think I've learned after all these years, and I would give an advice to another vegan activist is the most difficult part of vegan activism is taking care of your mental health. It will really, especially if you're a very emotional person, a very altruistic or empathetic person, it becomes really hard. So especially after 1 hour lecture, Q&A over, then they come and tell me, I am already, what is this already supposed to even mean? I am already a pure vegetarian. I literally told them that pregnant cows have their womb ripped open and the fetus is pulled out.
Yeah.
They tell me, so what? So at this point is where our mental health starts to get slightly, affected because they don't see or not willing to see or think like how the way we should reality. So, yeah.
It's like it's going in one ear and out the other kind of thing when you're sort of telling them that. Have you had any particularly aggressive interactions when you've done speeches at colleges and stuff like that, or has it tend to be quite warm reception?
Not too aggressive because usually their own teacher is there in the classroom. And I myself am probably like 10 years elder to the kids I'm speaking to. By the way, I started giving out lectures when I was how many years old? Give me a sec. 24. That was quite young actually. So the thing is that, they do, some of them say like maybe you're being paid by someone else to come and speak here, or you're you're being paid by the soy industry or something like that. It doesn't get too heated up, not that much.
Were you vegetarian yourself at any point, or did you go straight from flesh eating to veganism like I did?
No, I was 100%. I was born and raised by vegetarians, but I chose to be a meat eater. And after that, I did then went. My transition to veganism was not instant. It was over a couple of months because back then I really didn't know how or what to consume to be a vegan, because I used to consume so much. Like, it's insane. Like 1 kilogram of fried chicken in one sitting. That's who I was.
Yeah.
And eating all that kind of stuff. So I went from that to being a complete vegan. I didn't know what to eat, so I just stopped eating, and I got ulcer. So then I continued eating some dairy. I stopped meat immediately, continued eating some dairy products, working and learning things. And after a couple of months, I went vegan. So.
Yeah. See, I think mine and your stories are quite similar pre-vegan days. It sounds like you were just like me. You were a massive carnist. Like you weren't in alignment in any way with veganism at all. And then you saw Gary's speech, and then it kind of just boom.
See, the truth is that I, weirdly enough, was very soft-hearted, and I quote, an animal lover when I was young.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, the ant, just before we started speaking, I told there's an ant below my foot. I want to put it away, right? I would do that as a meat eater. I wouldn't kill an ant.
Yeah.
See, with my own hands, I couldn't kill. Okay, I was too terrified to do that. I knew it was still alive. It's still wrong. It's just an ant, but still. And when I was probably 10 years old, the Brahmins do this. Every male Brahmin gets this event called an Upanayam. It means that we wear a sacred a thread, basically a white thread around our bodies. It's supposed to be sacred. I threw mine off a long time ago. So basically, for that, you're supposed to wear silk attire. And I was 10 years old. And I suddenly, at that age, my mom told me that they boil and kill silkworms. And I made a big problem at my house and told them, if you want this event to happen with me, no one is permitted to wear silk.
Yeah.
At 10 years old, I did this, and no one wore silk for that function of mine. And so this is how I was as a kid. I would feed the stray dogs. I would be always nice to animals as a vegetarian. And then I guess I started eating meat because the people around me at the teenage years, they were like, you have to eat meat, you have to get strong, you can't get muscles if you're not a vegan. Yeah. The usual peer pressure.
That bullshit,
so I fell into that. Yeah, I fell into that. I started eating a lot of meat. I then became just addicted to it.
Yeah.
And what was the question again? I'm sorry, I get sidetracked.
No, well, I was just talking about what you were such like a hardened carnist like me.
My point was that for me, even as a meat eater, I still used to watch videos of animals being killed. I used to watch videos. I have seen videos that Mercy for Animals video called Farm to Fridge. I watched that when I was 17 years old as a meat eater. And I still would watch it. Like, if someone, let's say, for example, I was scrolling through social media, I found a video of someone killing an animal. Most people who eat flesh will scroll through. I would watch. I don't scroll through. I watch that. And then it dawned upon me, what I'm doing is wrong, because what I'm seeing is not, I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't want to be a part of this, but I can't stop. So, like you said, after seeing Gary, it was just a complete revelation. For me, it is just one simple thing. I have to always be consistent with my beliefs. Yeah. If someone can right now come and prove to me with logic and science why what I currently have a belief as is wrong and what they say is right, I'll change my beliefs instantly. Yeah. For me, it's all about simple things. No emotions. Logic and facts and science, I'm on your side. So when after seeing Gary's speech, it had everything. I was like, I couldn't, there's nothing more I could say. I had to change. Yeah. I had to change.
You've just been beaten. Yeah. That was the same with my mate who's from a wool farming family. And when I rung him up to tell him that I'd watch Gary's speech, I was like, big man, you got to watch this speech. It's about veganism. This was in 2012, right? Okay. And he was just saying, nah, what a load of bullshit. I'm not going to watch that. And I was like, no, trust me, just check it out. And he was like, it's not going to have any effect on me, mate. It just sounds like a load of nonsense. I was like, seriously, just try it. He watched it and then he rung me up straight afterwards, and he said pretty much what you said, it's just like, I can't fault the logic in this. Like, I've been beaten, and he's been vegan with me ever since. We went vegan. Yeah.
What happened to the sheep? The sheep are now sent to a sanctuary? Or?
No. He himself didn't grow up on a farm, but he comes from a family of farmers. So his parents grew up on farms, his aunties and uncles and grandparents and stuff. So unfortunately that,
that's still going on. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it's like I'm the only vegan in my family. I don't know. Is that the case with you? Are you the only vegan in your family?
Yeah, I am the only vegan in my family.
Yeah. How do like your parents and stuff respond to it?
The weird thing is I was never too close to my parents from being a young child. It's a very sad relationship between us, but none of us were ever close.
Yeah.
So when I went vegan, they asked me why. I explained to them, and they asked me, so either you're on this extreme, where you're born to a Brahmin family, but you say you will eat meat, because they see me eating meat, so that you will eat meat, you'll eat eggs, you'll drink milk and everything, or you'll be vegan, you won't do any of that. And not only are you changing from this extreme to that extreme, you are now asking us to not consume dairy. Because I did ask them that. I explained to them why dairy is wrong and everything, but they weren't interested. And my parents are just like most normal human beings, irrational, selfish, apathetic.
Yeah.
That's what humans are. So
yeah.
They didn't change. I'm the only vegan here.
Food-wise, I wanted to talk to you about food because I flipping love Indian food. Like, it's my favorite cuisine. I notice you're a bit of a chef yourself, right? I've seen your wife. I've seen Vegan Vani cooking channel, right? And I see you cook up some nice dishes. It's annoying because I lost my sense of smell and taste recently due to COVID. So I haven't. I had COVID recently.
Crap,
so I'm currently recovering like with my sense of smell and taste. I'm hoping it comes back soon. But I'm wondering, so I haven't been able to cook any like Indian dishes for a while because it would just be wasted, right? Because there's so much flavor in them that's going to go wasted. What are like your favorite dishes to cook, and like how did they sort of change from when you were a carnist to when you were a vegan? Like, do you still eat those sort of same dishes, like a vegan version of them, or do you have completely different?
Well, a traditional Indian vegetarian food can easily be veganized. It's not difficult at all. So a majority of the foods that we eat by default here are vegan. That's one lucky thing for being a vegan in India, is because almost like we hardly have to make much effort. But then again, if you ask my favorite food right now, I'm really into like it's called in Tamil kootu. It basically means we take a vegetable. Like right now, just before this talk, I chopped up some. What's a bottle gourd? It's a long vegetable, a gourd, bottle gourd. Have you heard of it?
No, maybe I have heard of it, but I don't think we have them here. But I think I've seen them on like Indian cooking channels and stuff.
So we have like so many goods that grow here, GOURD, goods that grow here like naturally in South India.
Yeah.
And I cut them up, and then we mix them with lentils, and then we add like a mixture of coconut, cumin seeds, and a few other spices, and we boil all that together, and it tastes really good.
Yeah.
And basically, South Indians, we are basically rice eaters. For the past 5,000 years, the staple food in South India is rice. In North India, it's wheat. So for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we eat rice. So basically, rice and lentils have been the staple of Tamil food since Tamil culture began.
It's the cheapest as well, and people are complaining about it's too expensive. I hear that a lot in India as well. I hear a lot of Indians say it's so expensive to be vegan. It's like, bro, in the developing and really run down parts of India, all they can afford, like in slums in like New Delhi and stuff, they're eating rice and lentils and bread, right? Because that's all they can afford.
So that is what the diet is comprised and based off here in South India. So we eat a diet of rice, lentils, and vegetables. And if you're vegetarians here, eat the same thing, but they add dairy to it. And meat eaters, typical meat eaters from South India, will eat meat like once a week. In fact, Indians don't consume as much meat as the West does. Even if it is meat, it's a very small portion that they consume here.
Yeah.
So as a vegan, I would say, Mom, I love these dishes that we make here. We sometimes make chana masala. What else do I like? To be perfectly honest, I'm not too big on food. Like I just eat what I get. But I love traditional Tamil food.
Yeah,
I could name them, but I don't think if most of the audience watching this is Western, I don't think you'll understand what I'm saying. We eat something called idli. It's a rice lentil cake. Have you heard of idli?
Yeah, I've had at the more authentic like Indian vegetarian restaurants and stuff in the UK. I've had idli and stuff.
Okay. Do you know what sambar is? SAMBAR, sambar?
Yeah, I've had sambar before as well.
It's a lentil soup. So again, everything is just based on rice and lentils.
Yeah.
But the beauty is that in India, we grow so many different spices that even if we work with just these two primary dishes, we can add so much flavor with coconut, green chilies, red chilies, tomatoes, curry leaves, mint leaves, coriander leaves, and the different seeds that we have here. Like
Yeah.
so much flavor. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Indian food is amazing.
Absolutely. Carlos keeps saying shit like, oh, vegan food tastes like shit. It's like, bro, have you not tried like Indian food and all the spices, like all those flavors and stuff are derived from plants. Like all of our favorite flavorings are derived from plants. People just don't get it. But it's funny you mentioned a moment ago about, because you mentioned, if a Western audience is listening to this, they might not know a lot of those dishes. And it's true, because in the UK, I don't know what you know about the Indian food scene in the UK, but most of the restaurants in the UK, the Indian restaurants, did you know that about probably 90% of the Indian restaurants in the UK are actually run by Bangladeshis?
It's pretty much the same food. Like, I mean, look, Nepal, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh were pretty much the same people.
Well, the thing is, it's not though, because I think if you went here and you went to an Indian restaurant in the UK, you would actually be like, what the hell is this? Like, a lot of Indians say this is completely different. We have like this very sort of anglicized menu with like dish names you probably like I speak to Indians and they're like, what the hell is that? Like, so a typical Indian restaurant menu in the UK, so it'll be like chicken tikka masala, right? It'll have like a madras, vindaloo, korma, buna, dansak, Rogan Josh. Do many of those make sense to you? Or do they...
Rogan Josh basically means in Hindi baby goat. It's a meat of baby goat. So
fucking hell, well, that's complete. There's no baby goat in this. Like, it just means generally it's like a tomato based like dish.
Do they add any mock meat? Because Rogan Josh means flesh of baby goat in Hindi, I think. Yeah, that's what it means. It's a dish.
Never seen that. Never seen goat meat in a UK Indian restaurant. So when it says Rogan Josh, it's actually, you get your choice of like, it'll be lamb, chicken, or vegetables. Never once seen
lamb,
goat
exactly. In it. Yeah, lamb is goat.
Oh, so in India you'd refer to lamb as goat as well?
Yeah, a baby goat. Yeah, exactly. A baby goat.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, lamb's a baby goat. Yeah, exactly that.
Oh, because like here, lamb would always mean a baby sheep.
Oh, well, I haven't seen too many sheep farms here in India, but goat farming is something that's encouraged by the government in order to help keep the poor people having jobs. So the government breeds and gives poor people like a herd of goats, and they herd them and they sell them off as livestock, and they make a living through that. So when I go and say, don't eat meat, so you want this poor man who's been abused by your ancestors now to not do this business and listen to you. So, it's like, it's really, the sad thing is that, like I said, there's so much of cultural difference in India. The socio-political differences are insane here. Like, it's where I live right now. If you entered my house, you would kind of feel comfortable and walked around my apartment area. You would feel it kind of will resemble the UK, not in that level, but to a certain degree. But if I take you just 1 kilometer away from my house, you'll be like, there's dust everywhere. I can see cows in the street and dogs running and people sleeping on the road. Like, what is this? It's like two different. So with all these differences, socio-political issues, like promoting veganism here really is a challenge. So
I want to read you something funny now, speaking of all this stuff. And you mentioned that you are from a Brahmin background. Now, you've heard, right, of this white veganism bullshit. You've heard of all this stuff going on, and like, did you know now Indian intersectionals have created their own version of this, and it's called, let me read this shit to you. I was tagged in this in an anti-intersectional Indian vegan group.
That group.
This is hilarious. Right, Arvind, listen to this. They now have, so Indian intersectionals have created their own version of white veganism. It's called Brahminical veganism.
It's they have been speaking there for quite some time now.
Let me read this to you. Brahminical veganism is an approach which doesn't acknowledge the struggles of marginalized communities in India. It's casteist and misogynist in nature. Brahminical vegans would automatically assume that a person in a position to go vegan is in a position to go vegan without knowing their perspective. It further extends the food shaming and caste supremacy in India. their approach is problematic and pushes people away from veganism. What do you think about that?
So obviously, if I had to sit and debunk that line by line, I could do that, and I could explain a proper response to them. But here's my thing: if this is going to be a segue into moving and talking about intersectionalism, I can just give you like my small take on.
Oh no, that's what I want us to do. I want to talk about this. Let's go.
Okay. Oh, yeah. But in fact, here's my thing. This might make you a bit sad. Is that I actually don't want to spend too much time talking about this. I'll tell you exactly why. Like I told you, if someone gives me information that conflicts with my current beliefs and they prove to me factually why I'm wrong and why I should change, I'd be willing to change and listen to what they have to say. Mm-hmm. So when these intersectionals first came up around 2018 is when I first stumbled across them on social media. And one thing that happened to me is after hearing Gary's speech, I started becoming very open-minded to hearing what anyone had to say, because all these years I was lied to, right? I mean, I was wrong about so many things about the dairy. I too assumed that the most important part, cows apparently produce milk for no reason. Like, I never even thought of that. Like, the fact that I, as an adult human being, never even thought of this issue shows that there are so many things in this world that I didn't know about, that I could be wrong, that someone else could teach me and correct me. So when someone else puts forward something, an ideology that I don't necessarily agree with, I'm now open to listening to them. So when intersectionalism first came into play, I did look and read into everything they had to say. Okay, deep dive, saw all their comments and everything. And then I realized, first of all, that many parts of it were completely inconsistent. There is no consistency or logic in many of the points. Some of the points are sensible. I will not say they're completely wrong. If they say to me, Arvind, you live a more, what's that word? The P word.
Privilege.
You live a more privileged life than that lady down near your house who sells flowers. Well, you know what? You're right. You're right. And if you want to say that my ancestors are the reason that I live a good life right now and her life is messed up, fine. I'm not going to argue with you. You are right. But then it's like, that's the, that's the statement. And what they conclude from that makes absolutely no sense to me. And then, I thought, maybe I'm just being defensive. Maybe I should sit and listen to what they have to say. I should learn more. And I kept learning and I kept reading many comments, seeing them interacting with people, tried interacting with a few myself. And then I realized I'm dealing with people who are extremely selfish, self-obsessed, arrogant. What else can I say? They are extremely bigoted people, by the way.
Oh, very hateful.
Extremely bigoted.
Very hateful.
In fact, if they keep saying that we need to remove racism, sexism, and all these things from the vegan movement, they are the first one that needs to go.
They're the fucking causing it.
They're the first one that needs to go. They're the most bigoted, like the whole, especially in, you are white, you're straight, and you're an adult male. You're like intersectional kryptonite. You're the worst.
There's probably a dartboard of me on every intersectional's wall in their bedroom. They're just throwing darts on my face.
But think of it this way: if I judge you solely for the color of your skin or your ethnicity, that makes me a racist. And 100%. Then they come up with something stupid and say there is no such thing as reverse racism. Of course, reverse racism does not exist. It's just racism. You're a racist. That's it.
Yes.
So when they say that something like a white person cannot be oppressed, or forget, I'm not talking about systemic oppression. I'm talking about as if white people can now be victims in any situation, and they're all evil. And same thing, and all men are evil. And even here in India, like most of the intersectionals, I've also noticed something about them. They make a lot of false allegations against men. Very
finger point, and that means it's true.
That could completely ruin their lives. They could ruin these men's lives. And if there is an idiot in the vegan community who is a man who needlessly keeps texting girls, follows them around, sends them his dick pics, that idiot needs to be slapped and sent out of the community immediately. Okay, I'm 100% strong on that. But if there's also a woman who is faking this stuff and pretending to be a victim of molestation, pretending completely. And the moment you say, okay, I would like to know more from your side, please share evidence, like any screenshots you have. That he's been harassed.
How dare you demand evidence, Arvind?
The moment you ask evidence, apparently I'm a rape enabler. It's like they come up with these new words. So after engaging with them for some time, I realized one simple thing. The only reason they are doing this is that they want our attention. They want my attention and your attention, right? And that's the reason why I'm saying I don't want to speak much about this, because I'm not going to give that to them. Okay, I'm going to focus my time doing activism, improving myself, focusing on my goals, and being the best version I can possibly be, which is their worst nightmare. Me being happy, me being successful, or any, I don't know, any male, any straight male, any white male, Brahmin male being happy or successful in the vegan movement is their worst nightmare. Guess what? Instead of talking about them because that's what they want, because this is what they do, they don't achieve anything. They just sit and gossip.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's been told to me that apparently my screenshots of me have been passed around different vegan groups in different cities where people just shit talk about me. And I ask myself, what did I ever do to this?
What are
And
they trying to achieve? Yeah.
some of them happen to be my friends, used to be my friends.
Yeah.
And when they were my friends, they were actually nice to me. We used to hang out in the same house and stuff.
They're the most disloyal people, Arvind. Like I this same sort of shit has happened to me. Like people I've literally hung around with, and then they get involved in the woke cult, the intersectional cult, and they'll turn their back on you like that. They don't give a fuck about stabbing you in the back.
But what frightens me is that these are the same people we used to drink together, laugh together, party together, everything together.
Oh yeah.
And now a few years later, like, first of all, the contact has been cut for a year. Like for 1 year, it's just, we can't keep in touch with all our friends. So, but then a year later, like that means even when we were friends and together, you always hated me. You never considered me a brother. Because if you really did, you would have directly come and spoken to me. Hey, Arvind, listen, I want to talk to you about so and so. But you just cut me off because you know that if you approached me and spoke to me that way, I'd call out your bullshit.
Yeah.
And then you actually have, here's one more thing. They don't confront me in real life. I have been to these marches. They speak all this crap online. In real life, not a single person confronts or says anything. Like nothing. Not one thing. They just see me and they look away. What kind of, like, I don't want to use this word as if it's like, okay, no, I'm not going to use it. Okay, beta male, simp. What kind of behavior is this, right? Like, I mean, if you have a problem, talk to me. It's not like I'm going to punch you or something. Just talk to me about it. But my point is this: they don't contribute anything to the vegan movement. If anything, they are detrimental to it, and they get their happiness and pleasure from pulling others down, especially those who are doing something worthwhile. And the best happiness they'll get is if tomorrow I make a post about one of them, calling them out on their bullshit, because then they have drama for the next 2 weeks to relish upon. So I do the ultimate thing that completely kills them. I ignore them. So if tomorrow, or by some case, here's one more thing. If I make a post that they find offensive, they will, apparently I think they have like a WhatsApp group, because they'll put it in their WhatsApp group that, dude, this guy has spoken like this. And people I don't even know or even heard of, like 50, 60, 70 comments are calling me random abusive slurs. Like apparently I'm now a rape enabler, I'm a misogynist. See, I understand that these words are actually, if someone's a racist, that's a really big issue.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what I heard about me the other day, Arvind? I saw a comment about me saying I'm a Hitler lover. I mean, the things they the things they accuse people of are insane. Rape enabler, Hitler lover. How dare these people say this shit?
No, but here's my question to you. So you do realize that they are insane, right? They're insane.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Number one. You also agree that they don't contribute anything positive to the vegan movement. It's not like they also complain. See, look, here's something. Let's just say they spoke shit about me, but they were out there changing hundreds of people to go vegan. You know what I would have done? I would do exactly as they say. I would shut my mouth. I would so-called pass the mic, and I'd move off. I'm serious. But they are good for nothing. They don't do anything themselves. So what's the point in that? So my idea is right now, after seeing the amount of bullshit they engage in, seeing how disingenuous, the main thing is here, they are both disingenuous, and they'll take you out of fucking context.
Oh yeah.
If you write a post, they will screenshot one middle line out of context.
That's what happened to me. Yeah. They've done that to me many times. I'm glad that you I think me and you identify with each other a lot on this issue, because everything that you've said there, I completely agree with. And the thing though with ignoring them, it is good to ignore them because they don't get their dopamine hit. But at the same time,
it's that. No, it's exactly that. I swear to God, it's a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
It's this weird. Look, okay. Here's another thing. I don't know how soap operas work in the UK, but in India, there's always this power. People like to have this power. Like if there is a mother-in-law in India, the rule is this: if a girl gets married, she marries the husband and she goes and lives in his house with his parents. That's how the usual Hindu culture works.
Okay.
So when a girl moves in, usually there's like a problem between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law, because now there are two women at home, and who is going to control the son? This power struggle, right? So apparently both do things to hurt each other, and they do that because to show, oh, I'm more powerful. Look, your son listens to me. No, he listens to me. Like they want to see who's in charge. So it's this weird same thing that happens here. This weird desire to be in power. Like, oh look, I can control you. I can tarnish your image. I can
it's
do
a
all these
power
things.
thing.
Yeah, it's a power thing. It's exactly that. So.
They get off on thinking, haha, see, I did that. They think, like, say they get someone fired from their job, which happened to me at AV because of these idiots. And unfortunately, because Paul and Asar were spineless and kind of caved into it and bent the knee to these people. But it's like they get off on the feeling of, see that happened to that notable activist. I did that. They parade your head around like a fucking trophy.
Exactly.
You know?
But here's the thing. I'm just saying to you, if you can just try this, try ignoring them. Like, imagine if someone comments on your, like, let's just say, for example, I make a post and there are 3 of these idiots who decide to comment there. I will make sure I reply to every single person but those 3. It fucks them up.
Yeah.
They lose their mind. Because the only time they're in power is when you acknowledge them.
Yeah. Mommy, give me attention. That's their fucking...
And if you don't acknowledge them, they just shrivel up. So that's what I learned. So that's why I even say right now, when it comes to intersectionalism, if we need to talk, of course, we can go into more detail. We could talk a lot and all this stuff. But me personally, I would choose not to because they want to hear me talk about it. So guess what? You're not going to get it. Too bad for you.
Yeah. I think that's maybe a good idea, and maybe we can. And I think with that, I think we could maybe move on to another topic. So, yeah, how have you been to a Western country before and tried doing activism here? And if so, does it differ in any way from in India?
I haven't been to a Western country to do activism, but I was raised in the United States of America for 4 years, from the age of 4 to 8.
Cool.
That's why I speak fluent English and I can understand English to the degree I do. It's because I speak more fluent English than I do Tamil, because in my young age, I lived in the US.
So in your region in India, is English not very widely spoken?
It is, but still, if I were to speak English like an Indian, it'll be broken, the accent's off. You know, like, it's not like my accent's perfect, but it's like a neutral accent I speak in. So,
how do you and Vani speak in English or Tamil to each other?
Both. It's called Tanglish. It's a mixture of Tamil.
Okay, so because I've heard of Hinglish before, so now there's Tanglish. This is interesting. So, what's the reason behind that? Why do we have Hinglish and Tanglish? Right, like, why would people sort of mix the 2 languages?
To express themselves in different ways. Like, now that we have 2 languages to express ourselves in, we can just join them together and just, add more color to it, or it's just a unique way. And plus, language transforms over the years, right? So with the Western influence, English and Tamil are beginning to mix in cities where I live, the major city, the capital of Tamil Nadu. If I go down south even further, I go to the cities like Kanyakumari or Madurai, and I speak my Tamil there, they'll be like, when I hear them speaking Tamil, like, that's proper Tamil. And I'd be like, what are they saying? Like, it's so different. Like, so it changes.
How did you learn French?
So I studied French literature in my college from the age of 18 to 21. I have a degree in that. I also, I'm sure it's there in the UK. There's this institute called Alliance Française. It's the Alliance.
I haven't heard of it.
Okay, it's there here in India. And I completed like 4 diplomas there. 4 or 5 Rome. So I speak better French than I speak Hindi, for sure. Way better French than I speak Hindi. And that's one thing that I really want to do in the future. So let's now talk about some activism and positive stuff, so that, no more those intersectional idiots. Let's talk about, creative stuff. So for example, I first of all can speak Tamil and English. I find that to be a blessing when it comes to animal rights activism, because now I can communicate to both of these audiences. Right, that's one, especially via social media.
And now, Hindi will be very useful as well.
Oh yeah, but the thing is that I still can't speak Hindi. I'm just capable enough of making videos, which, by the way, are insanely hard. When you're making a video in a language you don't speak, my goodness, is it hard? Like, just to shoot like 3 to 4 minutes of footage takes like sometimes 3.5 hours. I had to stand with this screen behind me for 3.5 hours and shoot the footage because it's so difficult. So I took 100 days off from activism. Luckily, my parents taught me how to read and write Hindi, because the scripts for each language in India change completely different. So here's something weird enough. I can read and write Hindi, but I can't speak it. I can speak Tamil, but I can't read and write Tamil.
Okay, that is
weird. Because when I was supposed to be learning Tamil here, I was taken to the United States, so English took over there. So French, I then learned. So I want to use that ability to speak, make videos in French, because I see when it comes to English, especially from the UK, there's so much content from the UK, like plant-based news.
Oh yeah,
Like you put out so much content, and half the vegan information you get online, and I mean, I used to see and really learn from, is from the UK. The awareness there is extreme. Like the contribution from the UK to vegan awareness online and social media is incredible.
Mate, yeah, the UK is a fantastic country to live in for vegans. I'm really blessed to live here. It's like I think we probably have the most vegans per square mile out of any country. And I mean, if you look at, for example, at like the Anonymous for the Voiceless chapters in the UK, if you look at the map, the chapter map online, the UK just has pins like all over it. You can't even see like the land, because it's like you go to one town and then a town 10 miles away and there's just another cube happening there, and then another 10 miles there's something happening there.
Oh wow.
And yeah, absolutely.
How many people attend a single meeting, single outreach?
It depends where the city is.
Like London, a place like London.
Oh, London. When I was AV organizer in London, they were huge. When it was just the London chapter, we would get, 40, 50 activists to a cube. Wow. But now London has like maybe 13 chapters or so. So they're slightly smaller.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's dispersed all around London and all around the surrounding areas. I'm currently the We the Free co-organizer in Bristol. Bristol has an amazing vegan scene. Like outside, there's a vegan restaurant there called Satan's Corner, just like down the road from me. That's like a Satan restaurant. Then there's like just round the corner, there's Perezza, which is a vegan Italian restaurant, and then there's Kucha, which is a vegan.
100% vegan, 100% vegan, all of them.
100% vegan, all those three, and they're like on my doorstep. Like I can literally walk to each one in like less than 3 minutes.
Wow, I'm sure my wife would love to live in the UK, because here's the thing: she's a foodie. I'm not really a foodie.
Okay.
For me, you give me anything, you just give me like carrots and bananas to eat, I'll be happy. I'm that kind of a guy. She loves to eat, so she would go insane. So here's another cool thing about my wife, since we were talking about languages and stuff.
Yeah.
She is not Indian. She's a Malaysian.
Okay.
So Tamil people were taken on ships to Malaysia several hundred years ago. Back then, I think we plantation workers or something. So the thing is that her ancestors for the past 5 generations grew up in Malaysia. Yeah. So she speaks Malay and Tamil and English. So it's not too difficult. Like how I'm doing videos in Hindi right now, it's not going to be too difficult for me in the future to do videos in Malay as well. And Malay is spoken by both Malaysians and Indonesians. So we now have another group of people to reach out to.
That's good, yeah.
So 5 languages.
We're coming to the end of the podcast now, Arvind, because it's been around sort of an hour or just over. So I'd like to ask you just one final thing, which is, what advice would you give to those who want to grow their presence on social media? Because you've been so successful with it. I was wondering, what advice can you give to people to growing a big presence on social media with vegan content?
Okay. The one major advice I'd say to people is, please don't give up. Like, please, I know you've probably been trying hard for a couple of months or maybe a year, a couple of years to really grow your social media channel, and you realize that it's just not growing. Same thing happened to us. When we first started out, we didn't have much growth either. I remember there was a time from 2018 to like 2018 beginning to 2019 the end, we hardly had 3,000 new followers, and yet we uploaded like some 40, 50 new videos. Hardly anybody was following us. But if we had stopped then, if we had given up saying, you know what, this is not working, I'm not going to do this, we wouldn't have been where we are today. Now being able to reach out to like thousands, millions of people, and have even hundreds and hundreds of people contact us back saying that they want to now go vegan, or they have gone vegan after seeing our content. So just don't give up. That's the one thing, because I know this. In fact, this is like a mind game. Like I told you, the most difficult part of vegan activism is your mental health. Because be it from constantly being exposed to animal cruelty, especially, I don't know about the UK, it's like all in closed doors. I could walk out right now. If you came here and I took you 5 minutes from my house, I can show you chickens in cage, one below the other, below the other, below the other. They'll be out there all night and probably being murdered tomorrow morning. They probably haven't eaten anything for 2 days, no water, nothing. Some even already dead lying in the cage, 5 minutes from my house in open sight. I can show you goats being tied up. I can show you a pig's head being hung. It's done right in the open here. So when we're constantly seeing that, seeing how apathetic humans are, how much we are trying to bring the truth forward, and yet neither is our work being recognized, nor are people listening, it really does have a severe impact on our mental health. So all I can say is take care of your mental health and don't give up. Just don't give up. Because to be perfectly honest, we're the only hope these animals have. Like if Gary has helped me and you and many others go vegan, it now falls upon us to individually contribute how much Gary did, if not more, make even more people go vegan, keep the ball rolling. So whatever happens, please don't give up. Just keep going. That's the best thing I can say. Just don't quit. Please don't quit.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much, Arvind. And thanks everybody for listening. That was episode 10 of the Carnism Debunked podcast. And we will see you next time.